And we go this way. And remember, keep your yap. Shoot. Wish I could do the German word for shut. That'll be funny.
Yes, it would be.
You know, we need a camera to like go on my forehead or something. And who are these random strangers?
Yes, who are you people? I thought you were part of our group. I thought we were coming to do it together.
Oh, we are, but you two abandoned us.
No.
We technically...
You want us to come ahead.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, you did say that.
Well, now we'll do it
You're not
together.
trying to be the boss of anything.
No, we had to do the intro first and everything.
And then I've been holding this up for... I don't know. Doing his videos.
Okay, I'm gonna find a seat. Get started.
Find a seat.
Alright. You know you had a spot for a little right there and then you moved your butt over, right?
No, she moved before I moved
Alright,
over.
so we're gonna be feeding a snake for you guys. Now during our feeding shows, there's just one really simple rule, and that it's simply that we're not gonna be running up to try and touch the animal. Okay, it's very important that we do stay in our seats. If the animal is afraid while he's eating, he's just not gonna eat in front of anybody, okay? So very important that we stay where we are, and he's gonna be eating on the floor right in front of you guys, okay?
I touched a rat snake.
Oh yeah, the one over there with the kids? Yeah, he touched...
Did you see the hog nose?
I have no idea. We haven't gone very far in.
Yes, there's a lynx out there.
We haven't been all that far in. We've been this room and the next
Her
room
name
and
is
that's it.
Hazard.
Oh, he wants to do the videos, so it takes forever.
Alright, so we have a reticulated python here that's going to be eating.
Fine.
Now he's already eaten once today, but he is going to be eating again. So what he's getting is a rat, and this rat is actually quite small for him, which is why we can feed him multiple rats throughout the day. If I was to give him the largest piece of food he could possibly eat, he is only going to eat once. So because we do shows in front of people, we try and give him smaller pieces of food so that he'll eat a bunch of times in front of people. Now, we do not do any live feeding in this building, so this is not going to be a live rat given to this snake, and there's two reasons why we don't do that. One, we do a lot of shows in front of people, a lot of kids. Most people do not want to see other animals suffering, even though in the wild they would naturally eat something that is alive. That is what they do. The second reason is there are lots of times when the prey item, so the rat in this case, could actually injure the snake, can actually hurt it. Okay, and that's the reason for that. If the snake is going to be eating the rat, the first place he tries to bite onto is the head of the animal, so he has control. If he misses the head and he grabs onto the side of the rat or onto the bum of the rat, and the rat's head is free, the rat's going to do everything possible to get out of the snake's mouth, and he will bite the snake. Okay? A rat's bite is actually very, very powerful, so it can cause a lot of injuries to the snake, and if he's hurting him enough, the snake will let go. So we don't want the snake to be injured at any point, so we take that risk away by not giving him a live piece of food. Okay, so the rat is right here. It's actually in water. So this rat was frozen. It is a piece of food. If I was to give him the rat frozen and stick it in before they ever bite onto something. Okay, the first thing is that it's moving. If it is moving to them, that means it is a live animal. So because I'm going to be moving it into the bin, he still thinks that it's alive. Okay, second thing is that it's giving off heat. So a warm-blooded animal, they naturally will not go after something cold-blooded, so they'll eat things like mice, rats, chickens, rabbits, things that are warm-blooded. Okay, yes, we are warm-blooded as well, but the third thing is the most important, and that it has to smell like food. If it does not smell like food, doesn't matter if it's warm-blooded and moving around, he's not going to touch it if it doesn't smell like food. Okay, so because this is a prey item, something that is interesting and smells interesting to a snake, if he's hungry, he will bite it. Okay, so we are going to dry it off because they are a little bit of some divas. They don't like their food too wet.
And the other reason why
Okay, water drops on their head, they're like, oh my gosh.
I would suppose that the next reason why you don't feed them live is because it could run out of the room or around the room.
It's very true. They have to chase it pretty much. So yeah, exactly. We just leave the room and then the feeding show would be mobile. They'd have to walk around and follow it.
Well, more like
Exactly.
run around considering how fast rats
Alright.
can be.
So he can actually probably already smell the piece of food. So if he's hungry, he's already going to be interested inside this bin. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to give him the food inside the bin. And once he's got a good grip on it, I will be taking him out so you can watch what he's doing. Okay?
Guys.
So it is a very, very fast movement. So all he was doing, he was already interested. So I knew he was hungry simply because his head was already coming up. I presented the rat to him. I'm trying to show him the head first because that's where he's supposed to bite. His tongue was going really fast because he found what smells like something interesting, and then he bit on. Okay? Now, he is a constrictor snake, so when I pull him out, what you're going to notice, he's got his head bit onto the piece of food, but he's also got his body wrapped around it, because that's what they're naturally going to do, even though we all know in this room that that rat was not alive. So you possibly wouldn't have to do that, but that is what they naturally are going to have to do, because that food would probably still be kicking. Okay, it's still going to be moving, it's still going to be breathing, its heart is still going, so it's still going to try and get away from the snake. So the constriction part, the part where he is wrapping around, is to stop the breathing and stop the heart. And once he feels that, he knows it's safe to start eating because it's not going to get away from him now. Okay? Just want to make sure that he's always got a good grip on his food. Last time he did a really bad job. See the head, I don't think he got it. So it looks like he missed. So this would be an instance, if he did miss, this would be an instance where that rat's going to be biting him. Okay, so it probably would have injured him already by now if that rat was alive. Everybody move back.
You want this camera to go over there? Or
So he actually did miss. He is very, very close to the head. This is what he did last time. He was doing like ballet the entire time. I didn't really understand what he wanted to do. He got really confused with himself. Last time he actually completely bit the butt end of the snake. He completely missed. So he actually has to let go in that case and locate the head. So the most important thing for a snake is that he actually swallows the head first. If it is a really big piece of food, the biggest piece he can possibly eat, it just makes it easier. So if you take a look at our body, if he was to start at the top and make his way down, everything's going to form a straight line, and it's just going to be that much easier for him to swallow. If he starts at the other end, so if he goes from the bum end, the limbs will pretty much pop out whichever way they want, the fur is going the other way, it's just a little bit more challenging. But because this is a smaller piece, I don't understand you. They're not the smartest reptile on the planet. So right now he's trying to swallow it sideways. He's doing a horrible job. The head is right here.
It's right here, bud.
Yeah, trying to guide it. So right now he's swallowing the bum.
Wrong end. Again.
He can swallow this backwards. It will not be that much of a challenge simply because it's a smaller piece of food. So if he wants to eat it, okay, you want to eat that way, you do you, man. Eat yourself. Eat yourself. Do what you want.
This is a boa?
No, this is a reticulated python.
Reticulated.
So I just wanted to realize that he's got the wrong end here. So he did this last time and got very confused.
It's like, what are you doing?
There.
Wait, what are you doing to my rats?
So I do need him to figure it out. The more I bug him, but I don't want him to get his mind taken off of the rat. Yeah, you're sitting on it, honey. Here. Look it. Oh, I've got it right here for you, and you can't even figure
One
that
of them
out.
is a snake cloak.
Yeah, look it.
Oh,
That's a goat.
Aha! There you
no,
go.
it's a
Right
wasp
here.
now.
All right. Again, so now he's got the head in his mouth, so this is the most efficient way for him to eat the rat. He's he loves to drag his food around today. He's doing extra fancy dancy stuff for people. Not sure why, but it's how he feels today. Okay? So for this guy, while he's swallowing, what a lot of people have asked me is, okay, that's obviously not the biggest thing, so how big of a piece of food could he eat then if that's not big enough? Okay? They can eat something that is 5 times the size of their head. So a really big piece of food. So the bigger the snake, the bigger the piece of food that is going to go inside their mouth. So if you're looking at a fully grown reticulated python, something that can sit around 25 feet long, you're looking at smaller species of goats. Sometimes they eat smaller species of deer. Okay? Now, what's really cool with snakes is that they physically cannot choke on their food. Okay? So for them, they actually have full control over their windpipe, so where they are breathing from. So if they're eating something that is 5 times the size of their head and they're 25 feet long, let's say it's a smaller species of deer, it's going to take several hours for it to go inside their mouth. Can't hold your breath for several hours, that's physically impossible. So what they're able to do is they can take their windpipe and actually push it to the outside of their mouth on the corner, so they're breathing while they're swallowing on the other side. So physically impossible for a snake to actually choke on their food. Okay, so because this is so small, you're not going to see the windpipe on the side of their body. It's too small. If it's a big piece of food, he will definitely push it to the outside of his body. Okay, sorry?
There's a little bump towards the middle. Is that his other hand?
Right here?
Further down. Yeah.
Here? It's just the way his spine is sitting. So because the rat is actually pretty small, you won't see a bump in his body at this size, but you will be able to see something if it is fully grown. It's a big piece of food. Okay, so that rat will actually take a full week to digest, and the only thing he can't digest is teeth, nails, and fur. So that will come out the other side of the snake. Snakes absolutely do have bums. Okay, a lot of people don't believe that. So I never want him to fully finish his meal outside of the bin, and I will explain that in a second. I'm just going to get him back inside the bin.
He's very good-natured.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's just not the smartest. It took him a while to figure out what to do with food. You know? So the reason I never let a snake finish their meal outside, so like I said before, is that the only things that are interesting to them when they're hungry is things that smell like food. Right? So because I took that rat and dried it off and touched it, I now have the smell of rat on my hand. Okay? So because this is not a large meal for him and he's going to be looking for food immediately after he's done that one, the next closest thing that smells like food is my hands. So if he was interested enough and I let him kind of just do his thing, I'm like, okay, now I'll put him back, and I go close enough to his face, he can make a mistake. Not because he's mean and looking to hurt a person, but he's doing what he's supposed to do. I just happen to smell like something interesting to him. So I always make sure, even if it's just the tail left, he finishes that in the bin so that I'm safe. It's more for my safety, just in case, because he can easily make a mistake at that point. And that's where people get that different perception on snakes, that they're like, okay, he clearly wanted to hurt a person. He wanted to attack you because he doesn't like you. Absolutely not. The only reason a snake will attack a person, fear. So somebody's doing something that they don't like to them, you're scaring him, he will turn around and protect himself. Absolutely. Second thing is food. That's the only reason why they use their mouth. Okay? Snakes can make mistakes, it does happen. But if we follow the proper protocols and he finishes in there, I'm not going to get bit by a snake. It's physically possible. He's inside of it. Okay? So if you guys have any questions, come up and ask me. I will be around probably about 15 minutes. Where am I with my phone? I have no idea what time it is. But let's say in about 15 minutes, and then I'm going to be doing a hands-on presentation. So we'll have the animals come out in front of you, and you'll be allowed to touch them. Okay? But if you want to keep walking around, I will come and get you when that presentation is about to start.
How many times today?
Him? He'll be fed 3 times today, so he'll get fed 1 more
So
time.
do you feed him 3 times
Presentation
every day? Or
No. Every Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, doors to be closed, looks good. And back to the heat. Yay!
It doesn't smell that bad in there.
Oh, something's messing with my throat. Huh, it is 2:45, actually 2:46 now.
Really? I didn't expect it would be that late already.
I didn't expect it would be that early at the same time.
is a albino hognose. My favorite type of snake.
Where'd you put the milkshake?
I put him back in his enclosure.
Alright, off we go.
Yes, we better make it in time for the show.
Well, you want to make any time for the show? My butt's gonna be sore on the seating though. Yay. Good thing I'm cushy at least.
Should I was
Well, at least it's ever so slightly cooler.
Is it colored?
Is what color?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
full.
it is.
Yeah, full colors. Your tie is more blue on this, is a lighter blue on this thing is on that.
Oh, no, how about
That's funny. Oh. My butt.
So can you do live streaming with that though?
I don't think so, no.
I know there's a live button on it,
Well, maybe.
but I'm not gonna push it again.
I bought something for school to do live streaming for butterflies because we're going to be hatching butterflies in our classroom.
Cool.
So we get them as caterpillars and then they'll morph into the caterpillar. I mean into the butterfly.
Cocoon, they go into the cocoon and then they come out.
Yes.
Alright, we're at 1/3 power, so I'm gonna stop recording and turn this off
Yes,
for
stop
now.
recording for now.
Okay, so I am gonna go get him.
Yeah, my mom would kill me if I didn't. I mean like half joking, like she loves sloths.
We saw, oh you weren't in, you didn't go to the biodome with us. We saw sloths.
The Quebec Biodome? Yeah, my family's been there too.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah, one of the
been there as
penguins
well.
was actually following my mom around. It was funny.
How? They were allowed in there?
No, like along the glass. Following along, it was really funny. Kept squawking or whatever when she was walking off.
$6.95.
So now it's all chromed. So it's like a rainbow.
This way for you guys. All right, so this guy's name is Barry, and Barry is a 9-month-old two-toed sloth. Okay. Now there is another type of sloth. They're called three-toe, and the biggest difference is the number of nails on the front hand. Okay, so he's two-toe, so he's only got 2, and then we also have the three-toe, which will have 3 up here. Okay, I know I got sweet potato in my head. I'm sorry. Okay, they will all have 3 nails on their back feet. The only difference is on the front feet. Now, they do have different colors, so these guys will stay a little bit more brown, okay, but the three-toe is actually a lot more gray, okay, and then they have the black band that goes right across the face, okay. These guys are a little bit smaller as well. Three-toes are actually quite large. These guys are nocturnal, which means that most of the time they're doing all of their activity during the night, so they'll go to the bathroom, they'll eat, they move a lot more during the night, and they will sleep most of the day. Okay, three-toes are a little bit more diurnal, meaning they'll be out a little bit more during the day, and they will sleep at night. Okay? Now, yes, I know you can smell it, I'm sorry.
Is that a carrot?
Apparently, sweet potato is the calling today. Yes. That's what it is. So he's getting sweet potato right now. Okay? So, there are some really cool things about sloths. The biggest thing I want to talk about is that this is not a good pet. Okay? People see them all the time. He is very, very cute, and people go, okay, I really want one in my house. Okay? They do not make good pets. It's probably one of the biggest problems with them is that when they are small, sometimes you will find them on the ground by accident. And that's when people take them out of the wild and they put them in their house as pets, okay? Or they'll sell them. It's one of the biggest problems with their population, okay? They're not meant to be pets. They are meant to be in the wild. This guy here was born in captivity. He was never in the wild at any point, okay? Now, yes, try to break this one. Hang on.
He's like, I really want this.
It tastes
It's
very
delicious.
good. It's like candy. Okay? So for him, he is brown. He will still stay brown his entire life. And there's lots of people that have come in this building and they're like, I went to Costa Rica specifically to see sloths in the wild. I wanted to see one. And they always say, I never saw one. Okay? The problem with that is that they are not brown in the wild. They will not look like this. Half the time they're way up in the tree, they're really, really high up, and there's so much humidity and rain, there's so much moisture up there, that because they sit so still, they grow algae all over their body that they turn green, okay? So they blend in perfectly with their environment, which is how it's so hard to see sloths, which is why they're probably doing so well, because predators can't even see them. They blend in perfectly, okay? Yes, I have no more, you ate them. Okay, so That's why most people can't see them. These guys will probably never change to green simply because they're in captivity. We can't mimic the environment perfectly, so he will probably stay brown his entire life, but in the wild, very, very hard to see them. Okay? They do not go to the bathroom very often. They have to come all the way down out of the tree and go on the ground. They're very vulnerable on the ground. Here they go about every 4 days or so, but it has been seen that they last like every 2 weeks that they go to the bathroom. Okay? It's not as frequent as a human. Very, very different. Okay, and if I turn Barry around here, he looks like he came out of the dryer. He's just a giant puffball. So when these guys are actually hanging upside down, he's just starting to climb now that he's 9 months. But what will happen is you'll notice all this fur actually gravitates to the middle of his back. So it all points down, and then right here at the bottom here, it just gets really puffy, straight up. And that's because when they're hanging upside down and there's so much rain, all the water is going to go right towards this giant puff. I'm not a tree. Okay? And then the water will fall off right here. So it's actually a built-in water filtration system so that he doesn't actually just get soaking wet and grow mold instead of algae. Okay? So what we're going to do, guys, I will keep him out for a little bit, but this animal in particular, you actually have to wash your hands before you touch him. Because he is a baby, he can actually get the same sicknesses that you and I can get. So he can get colds, he can get all that stuff. So because he's so little, we actually ask you guys to wash your hands before you touch him. So if you would like to touch Barry today, very important, just go wash your hands and I'll just stand in front and touch him.
And the other kid runs off immediately, hilariously enough.
Yes, there's no trees out here.
Although there's plenty of wood. Just no trees.
Just no trees. Just me.
Well, you're green, so kind of like
pretty much pretty attracted to green most of the time. Are you hiding?
Oh, might as well get closer. Closer look. Don't. Oh, no, I just want to get better. No, hang on. Just want to get a little closer. Aww. So why are they like bad pets? Or a bad pet idea?
Just the whole idea of diminishing the population. So because one person has one as a pet, most people think it's a cool idea, and that's when you can ruin a population. They're meant to be in the wild unless they're bred in captivity, but if they're out in the wild and they can go back in the wild, that's where they should be the entire time.
Fair enough. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense.
Exactly. So if you guys want to touch him, we just want to touch him on his back here. We just don't want to touch him on his face, okay?
So soft. What's the berry? Did he laugh?
No, he's just blowing air out of his nose.
So soft. Oh my god. They're so soft.
Okay, wash your hands if you want to touch.
Okay, so once you're done, guys, we'll just make sure everybody gets
Yeah, I'm not going to be either.
Not like because I don't want to, but it'll too much of the time will interfere with the video.
Yeah, we've already got quite a bit of time on this.
Yes, but we need enough battery power.
Kind of got them fighting a little bit, but
Does he have teeth?
yes,
Big, tiny, big
big one. Big
I
one.
saw him open his mouth.
Yeah, one of the main defenses that they will have will probably be biting. So he's got some pretty big teeth in there, believe it or not.
Period.
It's like almost a wall, right?
A little bit, yeah. He's actually a lot different than Roger, like our big guy up front. They both feel very, very different.
It's a curved back.
A curved back?
It looks like it's curved.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because of the way they hang
Like
on
mine.
trees.
Yeah. So the spine
Well,
is.
mine goes this way,
I see your tongue.
not that way.
Feel how soft this is right
It's like a curve.
there. Yeah, it's so soft.
Well, that was absolutely adorable. Not touching it, but super adorable.
No, I haven't washed my hands.
Here come.
Wash your hands.
No, I don't want to hold up the
No peer pressure.
Okay, then go.
What's your comment on it?
Well, we can always tell you what you could have done.
Super cute? Pretty cute.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a few hundred comments on telling you you're wrong. It's very
She's
cute.
starting to climb, so you learn how to hold on to things.
So,
So if you guys just came in, you do want to touch him, you just gotta make sure you just gotta wash your hands before you touch him for me, okay? Thank you.
so it sounds like we're at the end of the thing, I'm guessing.
And if the what?
End of the...
They're bringing out more than one animal, you know.
Yay.
While we're waiting for this presentation to end, folks, we're going to turn off the camera to conserve battery power.
We can have it, I don't need it. So, you can do whatever you want with it.
Alright, so we're gonna take this guy out.
How long do scorpions live?
I would say upwards of 8 or 9 years. Not a
not-
longer living animal.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, tarantulas are a little bit interesting because there's a difference in lifespan based on gender. So females will actually live upwards of over 20 years, males 5 only. So there's a significant difference. And it's usually because the female eats the male.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Usually what happens. So the male pretty much breed with the female and then she eats them.
Well, Black Widow, praying mantis does that as well.
Sorry, boys.
So their lifespan is much shorter than a female.
Yeah, anyone tries to take me on, bring it. I will fight back.
There we go. Alright, so this is an African emperor scorpion, and these are some of the largest types of scorpions in the world, okay? Now, there's two main parts on this scorpion. There's the big pinchers at the front, and then there's the tail at the back, okay? This is a venomous animal. Now, there's very big difference between venom and poison, because people think it's the exact same thing, but they are very different. For poison, it actually has to go inside your mouth, so you actually have to swallow it for it to affect you. You'll just get very sick if you eat something that is poisonous. Venom, on the other hand, is something that must be injected. So kind of like a needle, it has to go inside. Bumblebees, they have a stinger, it goes inside. Scorpions have a stinger, it goes inside. These guys are venomous. Okay? Now, he still has his venom. I didn't take it off. We don't remove that stuff. It is part of his body. Okay? Now, most people will go, okay, then why are you holding him if he's still venomous? Why would you want to do that? This guy's venom, raise your hand if you've been stung by a bee or a wasp. Normally there's lots of people in this room that have been stung,
Yep.
and you almost immediately know when you've been stung because it hurts. Okay, the venom is very, very strong, so it hurts. This guy's venom is 10 times less powerful than a bee sting. So if he was to sting me, I probably wouldn't even notice it. Okay, I wouldn't have a reaction. The only people that might have a small reaction are people that might be allergic to bees or wasps. You might still notice. Okay? Now, the reason the venom is not powerful is because his pinchers are super, super strong. So if he wants to eat food or he's trying to protect himself, he'd rather pinch than
They
sting.
do? You have a lot of
Okay?
people to blank out.
Now,
Because of all the
not
beaks.
every single type of scorpion
Well,
follows
it's good
this
for...
rule. So there are lots of scorpions that have really, really small pinchers. So for them,
check with the
they've got to
online.
have a more powerful end, which is where the venom is really, really dangerous towards people. Okay? There are exceptions to that rule, so there might be a scorpion that looks just like him, but could be highly dangerous. There's over 1,600 different types of scorpions. There's lots of them. Okay? Some of them follow that rule where the pinchers are really tiny and the venom is strong, and same thing as him. Pinchers are bigger, so the venom is not as strong. Okay? But now, I'm going to show you a really cool thing about scorpions. Every single one of them does this, and this is probably one of the most valuable things that they do so that people actually don't step on them or anything like that. So you can imagine, these guys are from Africa, so they're from the other side of the world. Okay? And you can imagine it being really, really late at night. It's very dark outside. Odds are you're not going to be able to see him on the ground. He's a darker color, right? So, this is a black light. Okay, these are the ones you kind of see in bowling alleys too. It's a purple light. Okay, those are the ones if you're wearing white at a bowling alley, you kind of look like you're glowing.
Be like.
But if you put it over top of a scorpion, they glow. Okay? So every single type of scorpion will do this, and this is probably pretty beneficial. If it's super late at night and you've got this light, odds are you're going to be able to see a scorpion on the ground now. If you don't got this light and he looks like this, you might step on him. Okay? So this is actually a very, very beneficial skill. There's lots of research going into what exactly allows them. I feel like you're falling again. Okay, you're not falling. Relax. Put your feet on the hand. There. Felt like he was falling. So, he was panicking. Okay, so they will all do this. Lots of research going into this. They're still trying to figure out exactly what goes on inside their skin to allow them to glow. Because it doesn't matter what type of scorpion it is. They will all live. Okay? All right. So we're gonna put this guy back. Turn the lights back on here. Go on my-
Sorry, folks. That's all we have time for. We're running out of power on the camera.
Seriously?
All right.
Yeah, we're on the
so we're
red.
gonna put this guy away.
All right. Until next time, folks, I'm the Blue Baron, defender of traditionalism. God bless you all, and remember, it is traditional monarchia.
And they have a lovely view of your nose.